Hello and welcome to this section of NetBlazor How to Multimedia Training. In this section, we'll guide you through how to set up Carrier Ethernet OEM test case on your FTB800 series module. In order to activate the Carrier Ethernet OEM test application, you simply click on the icon located under the test application. Then you can click on Test Configurator tab. In the Test Configurator tab, you can click on Modify Structure. Here you can select your interface depending on the software option available and depending on the type of test module available. You can choose the rate here, and you can select your connector, port 1 or port 2. Once you select your interface rate and port, simply click on OK. Then we can go and modify the 1 gig optical parameters. You can click on the plus sign in order to maximize the window. Here you can configure your MAC address. You can use the default MAC address by set to the factory default, or you can disable it and enter your own MAC address. The frame format, you can select Ethernet 2 or 802.3 snap. Under IP, you can choose your IPv version, IPv4 or IPv6. You can configure your IP information. If you have a DHCP server on the network, you can simply enable the automatic IP option, or you can configure static IP address using the IP address box. You can configure your net mask. If there's any default gateway on the network, you can simply enable the default gateway and set the parameter in the default gateway box. You can also enable and disable the VLAN on the interface. If you decide to enable, once again, it allows you up to 3 VLAN stack. You can configure EVLAN, SVLAN, and CVLAN. Under the SFP tab, it gives you information about your SFP and SFP plus parameters. You can get information about the serial number, speed, type, wavelengths, and mode. Once you configure all the parameters on your optical or the test interface, you can simply minimize this page, and we configure the SOM page. You can maximize this page once again using the plus sign. In there, you can select the OEM mode that you want to test. You have multiple choice. You can do Y1731, 8021AG, or MEF options. Depending on the test you want to do, you can select from the drop-down menu. You can enable, disable the SOM responder. You can also enable pass or fail threshold, and you can set your threshold values in here for frame delay threshold, frame loss, and synthetic loss threshold. And you can insert the local parameters, the meg ID, meg level, using the drop down menu. And you can also specify the map ID here. Peer map ID parameters, you can select the MAC address. You can also configure the map ID in here. You can also do a quick ping. You can also check the continuity function. You can enable or disable. If you disable it, you have an option to do address type, a unicast. The period also you can configure. The test function, you can select multiple function under the function drop down menu. You can select test, frame delay, loopback, or frame loss. the address type, you can select whether it's a unicast or multicast, and you can select the rate depending on what the TX rate will be, as well as the frame size. So you can enable the TX, or you can disable it, and the test basically it will be transmitted for a continuous period of time. Once you set all these parameters, you can minimize this window and simply click on Start the Test. It'll bring you to the main summary page. It shows you that the test is in progress, and it also give you in detail information, the continuity check, peer MIP, the status of receiving CCM message, and the TX and RX count. You can also see the loopback status, whether it's idle or it's receiving. Basically give you a lot of information in here. You can see the summary, the frame delay, frame loss, and static loss, and loopback, if there's any loopback, if it's successful or not. So you can receive all this, you can see all this information. And under the SOEM tab also there's a lot of information can be obtained. Alarms and errors indicator shows a different layer, and under interface, Ethernet, and clock, you can see different errors and alarm. It also allows you to inject some errors. By default is set to AIS. You can simply click on to inject. As you can see, automatically you're receiving the errors. Under traffic, it shows you what the total TX count and the total RX count. You're receiving the CCM amount of values, and you can see a lot of details. If you look at the Ethernet portion of it, you can see the line utilization, the Ethernet bandwidth, the TX, the frame TX, RX. You can get a lot of information in there. Under the logger, we can see when the test is started, if there's any errors, an alarm will be displayed. But when we inject AIS error previously, it's recorded, the event, the time, and how long it's been, the duration as well. So once the test is completed, simply you click on Stop the Test and click on Yes to generate the report. Fill the proper information in the job, in the field for the job information, report header, as well as customer operating names. Once that's completed, you can select your frame, the report format, HTML or PDF, and simply click on Save Report. Automatically should generate the report for you.